Have you ever noticed that domestic violence is a lot more common than, say, violence against your employer? Well, there are reasons for that. You see, primates, like us, tend to stratify themselves into a social hierarchy, and they're a lot more likely to be aggressive towards those they perceive as being below them in that hierarchy. But the question I want to ask is, does it have to be that way? Dr. Robert Sapolsky talks about a particular troop of baboons that show how this isn't inevitable. To start, this troop was like any other, where high ranking males would take out their frustrations by being aggressive towards lower ranking males and females. But then something happened. You see, this troop was nearby to a tourist lodge, and the high ranking males would often go and eat from the lodge's garbage dump. Because of the way baboon society works, it was the most aggressive males who got the privilege of eating from the dump, and the lower ranked males would be chased away. Here's where it gets interesting. The food from that dump was actually contaminated, and those aggressive males ended up dying of tuberculosis. What you were left with now was a troop where about half the males had died, and the ones left were less aggressive and more socially affiliative. And this made for a much more peaceful troop. What's even more interesting is that decades later, that troop was still peaceful because the new males that would move in, who were initially aggressive, would learn within about 6 months that they just don't do that sort of thing here. They would learn to be peaceful. The point of telling you this was to suggest that it is possible for us to overcome these tendencies. I mean, if baboons can do it, I'd like to think we can too. This is actually the philosophy of the Islamic phrase Allahu Akbar, because to proclaim that Allah is Akbar implies that we shouldn't have kibr. There is no Ana Akbar. Only Allah is Akbar. Sometimes when people study evolutionary psychology, it makes them think that certain behavior patterns are inevitable. I don't think that's the case. If we can understand why certain patterns emerge and recognize them, we can take steps to change them. If we can overcome our tendency to subconsciously view people as either above or below us in a social hierarchy, it could be a step towards more peaceful societies.